What's happening, everybody? Brandon here again, hanging out in the studio. So this is Lego the rescue dog. Lego is a 2-year-old rescue dog we picked up. I recently did a pet portrait of this fella, so if you didn't see that video, you can check that out. I've got another pet portrait coming up. Here's a shot of that photo that was sent to me. So we're gonna get started on another dog here in this video. So we'll check out my process of this next pet portrait starting right now. What's going on, everybody? Brandon here again in the studio. Got another dog commission painting to do here this week. So this is apparently a lab, chocolate lab looking kind of dog that is must be a bird hunter. Looks like a scene where he's doing some duck hunting maybe. So here is a picture of the dog that I was sent. And now we are going to get started on this one on an 11 by 14 canvas is the request on this one. So we're doing 11 by 14 stretched canvas. This is going to be all in acrylics. And we're going to get going with that. So with all of my dog paintings, to make sure I've got everything looking right on the facial structure and everything, the first thing I do is a pencil sketch. So here we now have my pencil sketch on the 11 by 14 canvas. So this is going to basically allow me now to go in here and put in my colors where they need to be. It's just mostly going to be a real dark brown to black mix going on with this dog. He's got some kind of vest on, a hunting vest on here. And you know, there's not a lot of contrasting color going on here with this dog. Intensity of this dog in this picture is really in his eyes, so I'm going to really try to focus in on getting the eyes right, because again, there's not a whole lot of contrast going on with the rest of the dog and its fur here. He's just mostly a dark, kind of a brown, dark brownish black looking lab. So we're going to go in here now and put in the initial dark colors where they need to be. So the first thing I'm going to do is come in here with this larger brush, and I'm really just going to paint in the outside areas that's kind of that tan grass, that light tan grass that you see that this dog is in. The camouflage duck blind is probably what this is. So I'm going to come in here with some color, some lighter browns and tans, and just put in this outer perimeter color first, and then I will come back in here and worry about putting in the areas around the dog itself. So we're going to take a little bit of some brown and maybe some yellow ochre or something here, and just a little bit of white to lighten it up a bit. That's probably about right. We're going to come in with some of this, because I want the darker values in first, really, and then I'll come back in with lighter values of this to be more like the color of that tan grass that's in here. And since it is grass and shadows back there, I'm changing the angles that I'm doing with this brush. And it's okay to have a little bit of variation of light to dark back in here, because again, this is going to be kind of a background color of what would be just more grass and stuff in the distance back there. So It's okay to have a little bit of variety of direction of brush stroke. It's okay to have a little bit of variety of the dark and the lighter values in there. We're going to come back over it anyway with some lighter stuff ultimately. And we're going to switch up the tans and the browns that are back in here anyway. So we're going to make it look more like an actual duck blind. Alright, I've done the bulk of the big blocking in of color now. I'm going to bring in a couple of smaller angled brushes now to finish blocking in the colors around the face itself and some of these other details here around the vest and the collar and everything that this dog is wearing. And once I get all that blocked in, we will be ready to pretty much come back in and start working on details. Okay, so there is a basic blocked in layer of the dog and a little bit of the grass around it. Obviously it's still in a rough stage at this point, but this gives me a really good starting point now where I can come back in and refine all of my edges and then start working on details and really making this thing come to life. So that is how I block in a basic dog portrait. I put in my darkest tones in the areas that they belong in, and then I come back in and I start refining everything and just work on a little bit of pieces at a time, usually detailing the eyes and the mouth and nose and the face here. Everything last is usually what I do last. So I'm going to let this dry good. This is again all in acrylics, so it shouldn't take that long, and then we'll pick back up after that. Okay, so now it is time to start doing a little detailing in here. The first thing I'm going to do is just touch up a little bit of this background around the edges. It's going to be a little bit off in the distance, so I'm just going to come back in here with some of these same colors and refine that a little bit. The actual grass, that lighter color grass that's hanging down here, I will do that absolutely last after I have painted the dog, put those back on here. But the background part of it I want to go ahead and fix now. And then after I do that, we'll get started on the dog itself. Once we get the dog finished, the last thing I'll do is put those lighter blades of grass that are hanging in front of the dog down in front of him. So let's get moving with some of this background color. Alright, I think that's about all I'm going to do for now on this outer edge background stuff. I'm going to get started now on this dog, and really it's just going to be a little bit of fur highlights in along some of the fur itself, and then we need to fix this vest that he's wearing and put some of the shades of highlights in on that. And then we'll get started on the face after we do that. Again, saving probably the eye detail and the nose and the mouth detail will probably be the last thing that I do. Got to really focus on making that come out right, since that's kind of the real main attraction of this particular picture, is this dog's facial expression. So I'll try to spend some time on that at the end, getting it to look the way we want. Alright, so we're going to continue working on the dog's face here, and really at this point it's all about adjusting the colors and getting the colors right and the shades right. So I've got to work around this mouth and nose area, and I mean it's kind of a I don't even know what you would describe that color looking at that picture. It's a light kind of brownish, pinkish, fleshy looking tone around here. So we're gonna have to work on getting those colors right here in the nose and get all the shading on the rest of the face right. And so it's just a process of layering in color and putting in some lighter stuff, putting in some darker stuff, and kind of back and forth until it looks the way we want it to look. So that's what we're gonna continue to work on now. Alright, I'm at a point now where I'm very close to being finished with the actual dog itself, detailed out the face and the eyes and nose and everything. So what I'm going to do, just to get a final look at everything, I'm going to go ahead now and put this light grass that's part of this, assuming a duck blind here probably. I'm going to put all this grass that's hanging down in various places around the dog's face in place now. That way I can take a step back and look at it and see if there's any last second changes that I want to make. But I'm pretty happy with the way the dog is looking right now. So I'm going to go ahead and now start putting this grass in and see how close to a finished product we have. Well, now I am just going to come in here and just refine a couple of edges, just a few little places here and there around that vest that the dog is wearing, and a couple of places around the edges of the face, and then I'm going to call this one complete. Pretty happy at this point with how this one has come together, so I don't think there's much work left to do here. Just touch up a few little things, and that will be it. Okay, well, I think I'm calling this one done, so I'm going to pop up the reference source photo again of this, which looks like this. This dog here sitting in what appears to be a duck blind. And here is my finished painting of Duke.